ABC News have announced this evening that Jimmy Kimmel Live has been pulled from its lineup indefinitely, following the host's pointed remarks about the killing of Charlie Kirk. The suspension came just hours after Brendan Carr, the Trump-appointed chair of the Federal Communications Commission, publicly warned that broadcasters risked fines or even license revocation if they continued to air Kimmel's program. The decision underscores how political pressure, particularly from Trump allies, is being leveraged to limit what can be said on mainstream television. Kimmel has been a long critic of Trump and his authoritarian movement, and his comments earlier this week became a flashpoint in an already polarized media environment. An ABC spokesperson confirmed the suspension, saying only that the show would be preempted indefinitely. In practice, this means ABC will replace Kimmel's late-night slot with other programming until further notice.
We had some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger-pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. There's demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay?
The announcement came minutes after the Nexstar Media Group, one of the largest owners of local television stations in the country, revealed it would no longer carry the program across its ABC affiliates. Nexstar's leadership cited Kimmel's remarks as unacceptable. Andrew Alford, president of the company's broadcasting division, described them as offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our nation's political discourse. He claimed that preempting the program was necessary to ensure cooler heads prevail and to promote respectful, constructive dialogue. Yet Nexstar's move followed closely on the heels of Carr's public intervention. During an appearance on right-wing commentator Benny Johnson's program, Carr suggested that stations airing Kimmel's show could face regulatory consequences. Local broadcasters run the possibility of fines or license revocation from the FCC, he warned. Shortly after Nexstar's announcement, Carr praised the company for doing the right thing, thanking it for pushing back on Disney, ABC's parent company. The sequence of events paints a troubling picture. A government official installed by Donald Trump making direct threats about broadcasting licenses, a major media conglomerate falling into line, and a national network bowing to political pressure. Kimmel's offending remarks came in his opening monologues on Monday and Tuesday, addressing the fallout from Charlie Kirk's killing in Utah. He criticized attempts by prominent Republicans to pin the act on the political left without evidence. Kimmel singled out Vice President J.D. Vance, who, while guest hosting Kirk's podcast from the White House, had claimed that most of the lunatics in American politics today are proud members of the far left. Kimmel dismissed the assertion as complete nonsense, citing research that found far-right groups were responsible for the vast majority of extremist violence in the United States. He further reminded viewers of the January 6 attack, asking whether the mob that chanted about hanging former Vice President Mike Pence was part of the liberal left or the toothless army of Trump loyalists. The remarks drew applause from his audience, but immediate condemnation from conservative circles. Nexstar's move to black out the show, combined with ABC's decision to suspend it outright, demonstrates how swiftly critical speech can be shut down when dictatorial political power and corporate interests converge. The broader context is chilling. The FCC is designed to be an independent regulator, but Carr's threat placed the agency squarely at the service of partisan goals. The suggestion that broadcast licenses could be revoked because a comedian criticized government officials blurs the line between regulation and censorship. In effect, the country's largest broadcast regulator lent its weight to suppressing free speech unfavourable to Trump's allies. Kimmel has not yet responded publicly to the suspension, but the precedent is clear. A late-night host mocked the vice president and criticised the far right. A regulator appointed by Trump threatened punitive action, and two of the nation's most powerful media companies removed his show. At stake is not just the career of one television personality, but the principle that comedians, journalists and entertainers should not face government-backed retaliation for criticising those in power. If a late-night programme can be pulled off the air under political pressure, it raises deeper questions about the resilience of free expression in an environment where authoritarian impulses are increasingly emboldened. The controversy reveals a media landscape under siege, corporations wary of regulatory threats, regulators willing to use their authority for partisan aims, and critics silenced for challenging the political narrative. What remains unclear is whether the public will recognize the danger in time, or whether this episode will be remembered as another step in the slow erosion of America's democratic norms. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with Midas Touch.